Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. That was a tough loss for the Oilers. That was a very tough loss for the Edmonton Oilers. They lost 2-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes in a game where they had 13 grade A shots to 10 for the Carolina Hurricanes. 5 alarm shots were pretty much even. So I reviewed them, Bruce, and there was a couple that I took off as 5 alarm shots for the Oilers. I have it in the end at 5-5. You can have another look. So
Okay.
it was an really even game. Could have gone either way, and it went Carolina's way, which is a little disappointing. The Oilers looked like they might come back in this game, and they faced 4 really tough games in a row here, and they just won the one of them. The game where they absolutely got whipped in a lot of ways in the flow of play against Florida, but Mikko Koskinen stood on his head. Fortunately tonight, Freddie Anderson was the better goalie. Mike Smith had a decent game. He was okay, maybe even better than that. But Freddie Anderson was better. You know, so that's hockey. That's how it goes.
Yeah,
Bruce,
kind of funny how it goes. Smith played 2 games on the road trip and gave in 6 goals, and Koskinen played 1 game and gave in 3. And you say, well, okay, they both were the same. But Smith managed to lose 2 games, and Koskinen managed to steal 1, right? It's just weird how the games worked out.
yeah, the Oilers just couldn't get a bounce on the attack tonight. They really couldn't. So they couldn't. It wasn't like Anderson was great either. I don't think he was
That
okay, but
that Sevier one from behind the net where he bounced it off of his skate and it bounced right back out on the outside of the post. 9 times out of 10, that hits the goalie and goes in.
you think so that high?
Oh, way more likely to hit the goalie and go in than to not go in, bounce off him and somehow miss the net. Anyway, Sevier did the right thing there, and he just didn't get the bounce. And I thought Oilers deserved one today. I would have been happy with 1 point out of this game.
For sure. The Oilers are just in the middle of a really heated playoff battle here. You know, it's just very close still.
Mm-hmm.
At least they got these 4 games out of a row, out of the way, and they're not like way behind everybody else. So they're still in the thick of it. So that's the good news. And we'll see where it goes from here. Bruce, we'll do our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. What's your good thing?
My good thing is the way the Oilers hung in there in a game where not a lot was going their way, especially in the first period, when they had a goal disallowed. Then Connor McDavid got smashed in the face with a stick and went off holding his jaw and missed the whole rest of the period. The 4-minute power play they got from that was totally just, it didn't work out. But McDavid came back is the key thing. He came back to start the second period. And from then till the end of the game, I thought the Oilers were the better team, and they won that part of the game, 1-0. But this has to go now, page 1 of the thick book titled Reasons Not to Fall Behind 2-0 in the first period. You know,
so your good thing is
good thing is they made a game of it, and they made a game of every game of this road trip. They played 3 very tough teams, and they were all 1-goal games. And I thought the results were kind of opposite to how the games were. I thought their least impressive game in many ways was against Florida.
Yeah, indeed. So my good thing is going to be is Derek Ryan's goal, and he had made a couple of great plays before then. He broke up the ice with Ryan McLeod, and McLeod gave him just a beauty little pass, and Ryan was kind of in on his own down at a bit of an angle, and he rang it off the post. Just a fantastic shot that that was delivered very rapidly as soon as he got the puck almost, and it beat Anderson, but it did not beat the post. He then gets a breakaway, excuse me, on the penalty kill, I believe, and almost scores. And then finally his goal, which was just a fantastic play from beginning to end, where he blocks a shot.
Mm-hmm.
He gets semi-mugged center ice and fights through that. And then right at the end, he makes just a real, like for a little guy, he made a total power forward move.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he might have to settle for kind of an outside shot,
Yeah.
but he just bowled his way into the middle of the ice, made a hard uh, shift to the middle of the ice, and was able to beat the goalie, get good position on the goalie, and beat the goalie that way by being able to shoot from the center of ice. Your odds just go up so much when you're shooting, and that was an unexpected move. I think no one was expecting him to do that. I think least of all the Carolina defensemen, but he just bowled in there and got off a great shot. He's flying out there right now, playing. He's playing some really good hockey. He has been, Bruce, according to our grade A shots metrics, he's been playing good hockey for a couple months now, and it's continuing on. So, there's a lot of good things happening aside from the injuries at forward for the Edmonton Oilers. They've got a good group of forwards there now, and I don't see that a major need honestly at forward. It's on defense and in goal that they're still having iffy problems. And I know Smith was second star in this game, and Isaac, you gave him a 6 out of 10. I think that was a fair mark. Someone you could even maybe argue for a 7 out of 10. But the second goal against was a little suspect. He was not suspect. It's just he looked bad on it because he lost his footing pushing back to the middle again, and it kind of raised. I think you raised it in our online discussion during the game whether he's injured or not. He looks like he's still fighting through injury, and
that looked exactly like something you'd expect from someone who's fighting through something, because the first move was good. He went fast across, and he tried to stop fast and go the other way, and he lost his footing and he turned sideways, so he wasn't even square to the shooter, and the shooter was Sebastian Aho blasting away from the slot, and he basically shot it right in the middle of the net, David. He didn't pick the corner at all. He just put it right in the middle of the net because Smith was just turned and he couldn't get back. So it's hard to sort of blame him, but at the same time, he didn't execute,
Nice to get a save there. Put it that way. Nice to get a save. I mean, Carolina just on that play, they just moved the puck around so well. I mean, that was the real problem on that second goal. Both of their goals were kind of major defensive issues popped up on both goals. All right, let's move on to your bad thing, Bruce.
Well, that kind of goes in with my bad thing, and tic-tac-toe execution will do that to you. When the other team, they did it twice, Carolina, they really moved that puck around. But the first period was my bad thing, and I kind of stepped into the beginning of this earlier. What happened to McDavid, and watching the whole end of the period with a lump in your throat, not knowing when you're going to, how serious it might be, and I wonder if the same kind of thing happened to the team, because they had the bad power play that I mentioned. They got outshot 3-1 during the 4-minute power play. Carolina had 3 shots. Edmonton had 1. And they were clearly discombobulated. And obviously they needed McDavid at the time that they got the 4-minute power play that he drew, but McDavid was in the room. So anyway, he came back, and it was all fine after that. But they were outshot 16-8 in the first. They couldn't get the penalty kill at the end. They couldn't get the save on that penalty kill, if you will. And they ultimately wound up in that 0-2. How that happened, hole again. Took a little longer. They were actually pretty good at first, till McDavid went out. That really changed it.
Yeah. Not having him on the power play, that 5-minute power play was just really adding insult to injury, literally. Yeah, and the first goal against, I mean, both goals against there was some suspect play. I mean, when you watch the replay of the first goal again, you'll see Zach Hyman up at the top of the screen, and you think, oh, he's just covering the defenseman up there, but there was no defenseman. That defenseman had gone to the net, and Hyman didn't go with him. So then he didn't rotate over to cover the point man. McLeod was left to rush out there. So essentially the Oilers were playing, Hyman had taken himself out of the plays in the red light zone, not covering anyone and not covering off a passing lane. And they put it down. First they put it down low, and Bouchard's a little late getting there. Then they put it, quickly back to the center of the slot, and it's bam in the net. Yeah. And then the power play goal was just very, very quick and brilliant passing. There was 4 great passes, and including 2 cross seam passes, which will kill you. 1 is bad enough. 2. So this is why we let Smith off the hook, right? Like, he's got to go boom over to the one post, boom back to the post, and then he had to go back to the middle of the net. So it would have been a hell of a save if he had made it, but
Oh, you let
it
him
was
off the hook. I docked him -1 for that. I
yeah,
would have given him a 7 if it hadn't been for that goal.
fair enough.
So anyway, it was tic-tac-toe. I called in the grades Devon Shore Piggy in the middle because
Yeah,
they had
I threw him twice.
they went right, put it right through his lane twice in a row, and he was just kind of spinning in there, and he wound up getting neither pass nor in the shooting lane. But it was great execution by Caroline. I mean, let's credit where due. These were,
Yes.
I'm just happy to say it looked like there's two good teams on the ice today.
I was happy
So,
with that too, Bruce. And through this whole road trip, aside from the Florida game, really, where they won because of their goalie, they've looked like a pretty good team. They've had their moments. So I'm kind of torn on my bad thing. There was Brady Shea's play on McDavid where he knocked some of his teeth out. It was such a reckless, dirty play that, he did get 5 minutes.
four
I don't know.
minutes, four
I don't know.
minutes.
4 minutes, excuse me. I don't know if he deserves more than like some kind of short suspension.
He'll
But
get fined for that. Is my bet. You watch,
someone,
he'll get the NHL maximum fine tomorrow.
McDavid goes past him, right? Okay, it's one thing to hack him on the shin pads or hack him on, this stick or even hook him up, but to recklessly just kind of throw your stick at his face, that's Bruce, it's an asshole move. That's what that was from
Can't
Brady Shea.
argue.
And
Can't argue.
and
I mean, bear in mind, McDavid did not have the puck. He didn't
yeah,
have the puck. He's not allowed to do any of those things you just described. Least of all, hack him in the face
twice he goes at him, right? And I think it
twice.
was the second time that was the blow that really did the injury. So it was just like, what are you doing? What is
Uh-huh.
wrong with you that you would make a play
Hmm.
like that? That's just, sorry. I didn't like it in the least. Could have, and the fact that it was McDavid made me like it even less so, of course, because he takes so much abuse. And I just wish he had been kicked out of the game for intent to injure, something like that. That would have been a fit penalty there because it's just what a jerk move. But anyway, that's not my bad thing. My bad thing, although that was bad. My bad thing is like the refs. Tyson Berry had a really rough call against him, where
Oh,
he was behind the net with the guy, and the guy's stick got caught in the net, and I think they both, one or the other, both of them might have skated through the stick as it was caught between the player and the net that got hooked in the Oilers' net,
hmm.
and it pops out of his hand, and Berry gets called for holding a stick, which he didn't do. I mean, I guess if the Oilers had killed off the penalty, and if the game hadn't been 2-1, I might it wouldn't have been my bad thing. But the Oilers didn't kill off the penalty.
No, that wasn't the one.
That was the deciding, wasn't it? That was the deciding goal. That was the power play goal. Yeah, that was the second goal,
It was a
Bruce.
too many men penalty that led to the goal.
Oh, it wasn't. They didn't get scored on then.
No, they killed that one off,
Oh,
but then
okay.
they couldn't. Then they got another one right away after for too many men.
Okay.
And
My
that was,
bad.
but it
Nonetheless,
was a bad thing all the way. I
I
mean,
just, I mean, they refs will miss calls. I get that, but
mhm.
there was quite a few missed calls, including two offsides that were missed, obviously, and um, on goals that were called back. Now, you think that Fogel might not have been offside?
What I'm saying is the replay they showed on TV did not show anything conclusively, even though Jack said it's a no-brainer. As soon as he saw it, what he didn't see was the puck, because the puck was right on the near boards, uh, where McDavid is crossing the line. And the puck's a little bit out in front of McDavid. You can see that from the other view. And so you're looking at McDavid's stick, and Fogel skates just ahead of McDavid's stick, but it's where the puck is that matters. If the puck precedes Fogel into the zone, it's good. And there was no angle they showed on TV. Now they do have them because on the other offside review in the second period, same blue line, they showed the good angle that the league used. So presumably they had that, and it would have been just microscopically close.
Well, so was the other
But
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hate the rule, offside challenge. You just take good goals off the board. I mean, trust your linesman judgment. Let him
Yeah,
play. Instead
yeah,
of wasting our time with this crap, I would have rather this game had been 3-2 and McDavid had scored that beautiful goal in the first minute. You
yeah.
know,
It was funny because when Carolina got their goal called back, that was the turning point of the game in terms of the Oilers starting to pour it on, right? That then the Oilers they got that break and it seemed to change
they were
their
both turning
energy.
points.
and they came hard. Yeah, Carolina got it going on after McDavid's goal there. Yeah, so I didn't like that call on Barry. It just, I don't know, it just drove. It just why are you doing that? But again, they make mistakes, but I still don't like it. Bruce, what's your number?
Yeah, well, in the first period of this game, there was um, 8 minor penalties called, and then the last two periods combined, there was one penalty. And it was like the rules changed after the first period. They were calling all this ticky-tack, and then all of a sudden, it was Hudson Bay rules out there as the Oilers were trying to fight through all these checks. Anyway, my number is got to do with the ice time of the Oilers forwards, and it is a little bit of a concern because this is, of course, not just the second game of a back-to-back, but on Tuesday night they'll play their third in 4 days, and these things add up. That's the ice time of the forwards. And in this game, Leon Draisaitl, 28 minutes and 8 seconds. He played a
Wow.
ton. He didn't get a lot done. He didn't have a good game. The best thing he did in that game to me was nail Brady Shea. uh, but he played that much. McDavid played 21:56, and he only played 2 minutes in the first period. So basically 10 and 10 in the second and third periods. We have Zach Hyman, 26:39. That's just a massive amount of ice time for a forward, especially a grinder. That's that's a huge night's work. And 23:52 for Evander Kane. Again, that's a big amount of ice time for a power forward. He also didn't get a lot done. So anyway, uh, a lot of mileage on a relative handful of your top players, and then you're going to ask them to come back and play Tuesday night in a slightly lower profile game against a team that's struggling in the standings. Now, to me, there is your trap game.
Yeah, and Puljujärvi's 2 weeks away from coming back. We don't know about Nugent Hopkins yet, do we?
Nope.
We don't. We have no idea. Yamamoto, we don't know, do we?
They said short term for Yamamoto, so
Oh,
they
so
think he might be back right away.
I guess the implication for Nuge is longer term then, eh? That looked really bad.
Well, they're still waiting for the pitchers.
I see. Fair enough. They might not have that information to release, so yeah, might be time to call up Dylan Holloway. I mean, I haven't been watching the AHL, so I don't know exactly how he's doing down there, but they might need a burst of what he brings. Ryan McLeod has been playing quite well, though. I think
Hmm.
I liked him in that. I liked how he looked in that game. And
He does a lot
what's
of
he?
things, eh, Ryan McLeod?
Yeah, he's kind of like
Winger,
Nuge when
wing.
Nuge isn't there, right? So a lot of the time that the Oilers forwards had in that game was on the power play, which is not as heavy minutes, right? Like you tend to be standing around a bit more, so it's not like the hard grind. But like
Right.
a lot of them were out there 6 minutes, more than 6 minutes on the power play. Draisaitl, Hyman. Uh,
Hmm.
but nonetheless, that is a lot of ice time. I agree with you, Bruce. My number is just two defensemen kept what I call a clean sheet, and that's at even strength. We didn't dock them for making any major mistakes on grade A shots against. And one of them stood out to me as having quite a decent game. I thought William Lagassen was really solid that game. I liked how he played. It was a very quiet game and a steady game. Now he was only out there for 10 minutes, 10:21. So that's
Hmm.
not a lot of ice time. Uh, it would have been more impressive if he had gone 20 minutes without uh, yeah, I guess some defensemen. Nurse did play 20 minutes at even strength.
Hmm.
And Nurse only made one major mistake according to our tally on a grade A shot against. The other one who kept a clean sheet was at even strength was Tyson Berry,
Hmm.
and he played 14 minutes at even strength. So good for him. Like he's playing tougher minutes, and he was hanging in there. And this is what the Oilers will need. They're gonna, if the Oilers are gonna be making the playoffs, Tyson Berry's gonna have to play the best two-way hockey of his career. He's perfectly positioned to do so. He's a veteran defenseman. He's got a good partner often in Darnell Nurse. Um, he should be ready to just play the best hockey of his life. And I think, after a rough start to the season, he generally has been playing fairly well at even strength. And um, that was good even strength work tonight from Barry that I saw.
Yeah, well, I didn't get burned on any major plays. I mean, the numbers that On ice numbers are a little alarming in terms of where the puck was when he was out there. 6 to 17 in shot attempts, 2 to 7 in shots, 0 to 7 in scoring chances, their version, but 0 to 1 in high danger chances, and that's what we track is the ones that are apt to be goals. So he managed to keep the play to the outside, but
Yeah,
the play was there wasn't a whole lot of offense going on when Barry was out there, and that's kind of what you want from Barry
you kind of want a
in
little
this
bit of,
game.
yeah, you want a little bit of both,
Well,
generally speaking. He's got it, you know, yeah, he is an offensive player, and it would have been nice if he could have done a bit more out there. Nonetheless, I like that, and I really liked Lagassen's game. Again, he only didn't play that much, but
mm,
he was solid. It's an interesting time for him. Like he is getting this opportunity. There's a real battle going on here, I think, between him and Niemelainen. Because he when Duncan Keith does get back, I mean, if Duncan Keith gets back again, you know, he's got a couple injuries going, right? Concussion problem, whatever. What drove him out in December, Bruce? Do you recall what injury was? What got him out in December? Because
sorry,
it
which
Duncan Keith.
Oh, Keith. He just did something to his lower body. They never said what. It
Oh,
was
okay.
just an innocuous play at the blue line, and he just turned the wrong way, and he was done. He went off to the bench, and he was out for 3 weeks or something, 2.5 weeks. Just when all the other guys were down. Remember, Nurse had just broken his finger just before that. Like it really couldn't have happened at
Yeah,
a much of a worse
yeah,
time.
yeah. And Keith was playing better too, so we'll see. It's an interesting team. It's been a frustrating year, honestly, up and down
Mhm.
year. And tonight's game was that personified. There was so many frustrating moments between the refs and you know McDavid's goal called back and their
Yeah,
inability to
it's
score more than one goal on 13 grade A shots. I mean,
mhm, yeah,
you should probably have how many goals? 4 goals. You know,
three,
that could easily be a 4 goal game for the Oilers, but they just were unable to cash in.
three at least. If you're putting in 1 and 4,
Oh, excuse me, 3. It's interesting, Bruce.
still would have been enough.
You gave Drysaitel a 4 tonight out of 10.
Hmm.
And I would have given him like it was funny. I think you felt I didn't give Drysaitel a high enough mark yesterday for yesterday's
Hmm.
game, and I would have given him a higher mark today.
Yeah.
I thought his offense was there were some defensive mistakes,
Hmm.
but he made some really nice offensive. He was in the middle of some of the best offensive plays for the Oilers, so I liked his game a little bit more than that. But you know, he did make those defensive errors, so
Yeah.
there's that as
Yeah.
well.
Well, the first period, I docked Hyman the same way, and I thought Hyman was really good in the second and third periods, but he'd done damage in the first period. He'd made mistakes on both goals, and he'd made a small error that turned into the penalty, you know.
And there's
And
also his mistakes on the penalty kill, right?
mhm,
I don't know if he's a penalty killer. Like I love him in the when it's 3-on-5, he's excellent, but on the 4-on-3, I'm still not convinced. But they didn't have much choice tonight. You're missing Yamamoto and Nugent Hopkins, right? Two of your regular
right.
penalty kill guys. So you got to put someone up there, and he's as good a choice as any. He's a better choice than most. All right, so Tuesday night, who are they playing, Bruce?
Aren't Philly next time? I was so focused on these 3 games against the three tough teams. It's Philly and then Chicago this week,
Yeah,
Tuesday,
it's
Thursday, and
Philly.
then they're home on Saturday, and it's every other day again for a while.
Oh, are they still on the road in Philadelphia?
Yep. Yeah, this is a
Great.
5 game road trip, or in my point of view, it's a 10 game road trip because the previous 5 games they made 2 one-day stops in Edmonton, and otherwise they have been on the road the entire time. It's just a brutal stretch. So,
So they got 2 games, Philadelphia and Chicago here.
mhm,
So this could be Carter Hart and Marc Andre Fleury.
absolutely.
And man, I hear you. Like these are kind of must-win games against weaker
Uh,
teams.
yeah, well, you won. I'm glad they had to win one of these games. I thought
One
if
of the
they'd have
four.
lost all the three in Florida after already losing at home to Minnesota,
Yeah.
then that 5 game win streak that they got when Woodcroft took over would have been evaporated. As it is, it's down to 6-3, but it's still, they're gaining ground on the league over Woodcroft's time, and they just have to build on it, and they have to just not make any mistakes at this point. They got to beat the teams they should beat.
Indeed.
And if they play as well as they did today, I like their chances against most teams, really.
McDavid has looked good. He looks like he's really flying. It looks like he's got his legs under him. So we'll see how that goes. I wonder if there will be a call up. Try to inject some life.
Yeah, well, Brad Malone's out there, right?
Yeah, that ain't gonna do it. That ain't gonna do it. He's a great AHL player, right? Like he's a great mentor
Mhm.
player at the AHL level, but we've seen him at the NHL level,
Well, if
and
they want him to kill penalties and do some of the, bottom end
maybe,
jobs of the Nuge, I don't know.
yeah, take some face-offs. Maybe you're right, Bruce. Maybe that's who it's going to be because I don't think. Do you know if Holloway's been playing center?
I think he's been on the wing,
Yeah,
as far as I know.
they probably don't want to risk his wrist
Well, I bet
taking
you 100%
face-offs.
he's not taking any face-offs. I mean, why
Yeah,
would he? In the games that I watched, I don't remember him taking draws. He looks like Taylor Hall out there, number 4, playing left wing, and he has
so
a
low to the ice.
similar skating stance. It's quite striking when you see him like in dynamic action.
Chest up, butt down,
Hmm.
really low to the ice. His legs
Yeah,
flying out to the side. Yeah,
very powerful skater. You gotta love to see that.
yeah,
Anybody who skates like Taylor Hall is okay on my team.
yeah. Alrighty, let's leave it there, Bruce. The game grades are already posted. Well, I'll send you this
Yeah.
code right away. All right.
Yeah, we've done it backwards this time. I actually did the grades first, and we're doing the podcast later. And I would like to just say hello to my friend Franklin Lodi in Carolina, longtime Edmontonian who attended the game today. Got out to see the game, and he watches the podcasts and enjoy.
Here's to you, Franklin. Even is he a Canes fan? Did you say, or
Oh no, he's an Oilers
he's an
fan, and
Oilers fan?
he's an octogenarian who's retired to South Carolina.
Ah, very
So
nice.
he's
Very nice.
connected with the Science Center and the planetarium right from the beginning. So
Oh,
very good man, Franklin.
all right.
Anyway,
Thanks for talking today, Bruce.
yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.